diary found inside an open grave. The discovery. The autumn wind carried the scent of decay through Blackwood Cemetery as Marcus Chen stepped over the rusted iron gate. His flashlight beam cut through the fog that clung to the tombstones like desperate fingers. He shouldn't be here, not at midnight, not alone. But the anonymous email had been too specific to ignore. Come to grave C47. Bring a shovel. You'll find what you've been searching for. Marcus was a true crime podcaster, always chasing the next story. For 6 months, he'd been investigating the disappearance of Sarah Mitchell, a local teacher who'd vanished without a trace. The police had given up. Her family had lost hope, but Marcus couldn't let it go. His boots crunched on gravel as he counted the rows. C44, C45, C46, C47. Marcus froze. The grave was already open. Fresh dirt was piled beside it, and the headstone read, Emily Blackwood, 1843 to 1867. May she rest in peace. But the coffin wasn't centuries old. It was recent, made of cheap pine, partially exposed in the disturbed earth. His hands trembled as he aimed the flashlight into the hole. The coffin lid was ajar. Inside, there was no body, only a leather-bound diary, its pages yellowed but intact, resting on decaying silk. Marcus descended into the grave, his heart hammering. As his fingers touched the diary, the temperature dropped so suddenly his breath became visible. Somewhere in the darkness, he heard it, a whisper, or maybe a sob. He grabbed the diary and scrambled out, running toward his car without looking back. The first entry. In his apartment, Marcus locked every door and window before opening the diary. The handwriting inside was elegant but erratic, as if written in great distress. October 3rd, 1867. My name is Emily Blackwood, and I am writing this in case I do not survive. Something is terribly wrong in this town. 3 nights ago, I witnessed Pastor Aldrich performing a ritual in the church basement. I hid behind the columns, watching in horror as he spoke in a language that made my ears bleed. He was standing over a stone altar, and there was something on it, something that writhed and pulsed with unnatural life. When he finished, he turned and looked directly at where I was hiding. His eyes were completely black. He smiled and said, Emily, dear child, you shouldn't have seen this. I ran. I've been running ever since, but I know he's coming for me. I can feel his presence growing stronger. If you're reading this, please destroy the altar in the church. It's the only way to stop what's coming. Marcus felt ice creep down his spine. Blackwood Church was still standing, abandoned for decades after a fire in the 1960s. But Emily had been dead for 150 years. This had to be a hoax. He flipped to the next entry. October 5th, 1867. They found me. Pastor Aldrich and his followers, 5 of them, all with those dead black eyes. They dragged me to the church. I'm being kept in a room beneath the altar. I can hear them chanting above me. The walls here are covered in symbols that hurt to look at. There's something else here with me. In the darkness of this cell, I can see it moving. It's tall, impossibly thin, with too many joints in its limbs. It doesn't speak, but I can hear its thoughts in my mind. It calls itself the Witness. It says it's been waiting for someone like me, someone who saw what they shouldn't have. It tells me I won't die, not really. It says my consciousness will be trapped, aware but unable to move, unable to scream for eternity. This is their punishment for those who witness the ritual. If you're reading this, run. Don't try to help me. It's too late for... The entry ended abruptly, the pen trailing off the page. Marcus's phone buzzed, another anonymous email. "You read the diary. Now you're part of this. Check your door." His blood turned to ice. Slowly, Marcus approached his apartment door and looked through the peephole. A woman stood in the hallway. She wore a tattered 19th century dress. Her head hung at an unnatural angle. As Marcus watched, paralyzed with fear, she slowly raised her head. Her eyes were empty sockets, but somehow he knew she was looking directly at him. She mouthed 2 words, "Help me." Then she was gone. The investigation. Marcus didn't sleep that night. At dawn, he called his friend, Detective Lisa Rodriguez. "Lisa, I need you to look into something. Blackwood Church, specifically anything about Pastor Aldrich from the 1860s. "Marcus, it's 6 a.m. Why are you—" "Please, it's important." She sighed. "Fine, I'll call you back." 2 hours later, his phone rang. "Marcus, this is strange. There's barely any record of a Pastor Aldrich. What I did find is disturbing. There were 7 mysterious deaths in October 1867, all young women, all buried in Blackwood Cemetery. And get this, their graves were all found disturbed in 1923, empty except for personal belongings. The case was never solved." 7? The diary only mentioned Emily. "There's more. I found a police report from 1923. An officer investigating the disturbed graves reported finding a tunnel system beneath the church. He went down to explore and never came back. They sealed the entrance, but the officer's final radio message is in the file. Want to hear it?" "Yes." Lisa played the recording. Through crackling static, a panicked voice came through. "They're alive. God help me. They're all alive down here. They're standing in circles around this thing. It's tall, impossibly thin with, oh God, it sees me. It sees me. Their eyes, they don't have eyes, but they're all looking at me. It says I'm the witness now. It says—" The recording ended in a scream. Marcus dropped the phone. The diary before him had opened by itself to a new page, one he hadn't seen before. Fresh ink was appearing on the paper, writing itself in real time. December 19th, 2025. Marcus Chen, you are the 7th witness. Pastor Aldrich's ritual required 7 souls to birth the entity. I was meant to be the 7th, but I hid this diary before they could complete the ceremony. For 158 years, the entity has been incomplete, trapped between worlds, waiting for someone. By reading this diary, by touching it, you've completed the circle. You are the 7th soul it needed. The witness is now fully born. You have 3 days. Either destroy the altar beneath the church or join us in the eternal watching. We're all still here, Marcus. We never left. We've been screaming in silence, unable to move, unable to die for over a century. And soon, you'll join us." The writing stopped. Marcus's hands were shaking so badly he could barely hold the diary. Into the church. That night, Marcus stood outside Blackwood Church with a backpack full of supplies, flashlights, crowbars, lighter fuel, and matches. If there was an altar, he'd find it. If this was all some elaborate prank, he'd expose it. Either way, he needed answers. The church door hung open, creaking in the wind. Inside, moonlight filtered through broken stained glass, casting colored shadows across rotted pews. The air was thick with mold and something else, something that smelled like copper and rot. Marcus found the entrance to the basement behind the pulpit, a heavy wooden door, newer than the rest of the church, with fresh scratch marks on its surface. Someone had been here recently. The stairs descended into absolute darkness. His flashlight seemed weaker here, its beam struggling to pierce the gloom. The temperature dropped with each step. At the bottom, he found himself in a stone corridor. The walls were covered in the same symbols Emily had described, geometric patterns that seemed to shift when he wasn't looking directly at them. They made his head ache, made his vision swim. Following the corridor, he heard it, a sound like breathing, but too slow, too deep. It came from everywhere and nowhere. The tunnel opened into a large chamber, and there, in the center, was the altar. It was made of black stone that seemed to absorb light. 7 circles were carved around it, and in each circle stood a figure. Women in 19th century dresses, perfectly preserved, their eyes missing. They stood completely